there. Hi, everyone. Let's make sure I have everything in order here. All right. Hi, everyone. Busy day today, I believe. We'll just start with a few announcements. Some of you may know the President of the General Assembly has received a new nomination for the SG selection process. It is Macky Sall, the former President of Senegal. He was nominated by the Republic of Burundi, who presented their papers this morning. And the President of the General Assembly and the President of the Security Council will inform member states jointly and circulate the information and communication that we have received shortly. We will update the website as soon as that is circulated through the official channels. One other update on nominations, as I believe I shared with you all last week, but just announcing here in case some folks haven't seen it, the government of Bangladesh revised its candidacy for PGA 81, and they have nominated His Excellency Dr. Khalil Rahman, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, as their candidate, replacing Mohammed Tauhid Hussein, their initial nominee. So those are the updates that we have on PGA 81 nominations and the SG nomination. Just in terms of some updates for this week. In the GA, there are no meetings today or tomorrow, informal or plenary. On Wednesday, there will be an informal meeting of the General Committee, and they will review the mandated high-level meetings for the upcoming UNGA High-Level Week, and they will review them because they're during High-Level Week, these events are limited to 3, and right now they've been mandated to convene 5 high-level meetings during High-Level Week in September 2026. So they'll be meeting to discuss those requirements. Then on Thursday, there will be informal consultations on the political declaration on sea level rise, and that's happening in conference room 1. On Friday at 10 a.m., the PGA will be delivering remarks at the Dr. Hansa Mehta Memorial Lecture in Conference Room 2. This is an annual dialogue that celebrates the life and contributions of Dr. Hansa Mehta, a scholar, educator, social reformer, writer, and champion human rights activist who played a pioneering role in drafting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And so the dialogue this year will be held under the theme of Breaking Barriers for Social Transformation, Dr. Hansa Mehta's Inspiring Life. And then in the afternoon in Conference Room 3, there will be informal consultations on the progress on the declaration of the International Migration Review Forum. So that's what's happening ahead this week in the GA and updates on nominations. Questions? Yes.
Did you say that Macky Sall was, the candidature was sent by Burundi?
Correct.
Okay. So my question is, why not by Senegal?
You should ask Senegal.
The government not supporting
Any country can nominate a candidate. It does not have to be a national of their country. So that question would have to be put to Burundi and to Senegal. We just accept the nominations. We don't ask who nominated whom and why. Gabriel.
Can you remind us the total number of official? This will be number 3.
This is number 3. The first nominee was Raphael Grossi, followed by Michelle Bachelet, and now Macky Sall. Yes, Stefano.
Yes, we read the reaction of the President of the General Assembly on the war happening in the Middle East. Saturday, the Israeli ambassador on the social, he called shameful the reaction of the Secretary General that basically was the same of the President of the General Assembly. So what is the reaction of the President of the General Assembly to the reaction of Israel that called shameful a declaration basically was the same that she did?
Look, the PGA stands by her statement that we must use the UN Charter as the basis for resolving disputes. So she defends the Charter, she supports the Charter, and believes that we do not need an escalation of violence in the region, and that we must approach everything through diplomacy, through negotiations, to protect civilians and to prevent a wider spread of violence in the region. And so she has called on the United States, Israel, and Iran to de-escalate, to not drag neighboring countries into the conflict, and to return to diplomacy and negotiations. And so, of course, representatives of countries are entitled to express their free opinions, but that is her position.
And did she, sorry, quick follow-up. And did she had any contact in the last 2 days with the Israeli diplomats here and also with the Iranian ambassador?
She has not, since the fighting has started, since the attacks have started, she has not been in touch over the weekend with officials from those countries or representatives. Yes, and then Pamela, go ahead.
Thank you, Lanis. The definition of aggression has been approved by the General Assembly. After so many years of debate, it took, I think, 30 years to agree on one single definition of the crime of aggression. Does the PGA believe that this definition, which was adopted by the GA, apply to this war?
I would have to speak to her about that, about whether this specific definition she believes applies to this particular conflict, and get back to you on that. But I don't have an answer for you on that.
Thank you.
Pamela, and then.
Thank you so much. Will the PGA be meeting with the First Lady of the United States today while she's in the building?
There are no plans for the PGA to meet with the First Lady while she's here.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Lanis. So did the Bangladesh permanent mission give any reason why they decides to change their candidate for the next PGA?
No, they did not provide in the note verbal, which you can find on the PGA election website. They did not provide a reason. They simply stated that they were revising their candidacy and provided the new name and documents for the newly nominated candidate.
Can you update us on the candidates for the General Assembly 81, please? How many candidates you have?
Yes. So with the revision of the Bangladeshi candidate, we still currently stand at 2. As you'll recall, initially there were 3, with the state of Palestine having nominated someone. They withdrew that nomination. So now we have nominations from Bangladesh and Cyprus. Okay. I see no more hands. All right. Then that will be it for me. And I believe Steph will join you shortly. Thanks.
All right, good afternoon. Just a programming note, I think you know there is a Security Council meeting this afternoon on maintenance of international peace and security, children, technology, and education and conflict. First meeting to be held under the presidency of the United States in the month of March. From our part, Rosemary DiCarlo, the Undersecretary General for the Department of Political and Peace Building Affairs, will brief council members. Turning to the situation in the Middle East. Over the past 48 hours or so, the Secretary General has been in touch with a number of regional leaders. Just a few minutes ago, he spoke by phone with His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of the State of Qatar. The Secretary General reiterated his condemnation of the recent attacks against Qatar, which is in violation of the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity. He also reaffirmed Qatar's role as a strong and valued partner of the United Nations. The Secretary General and the Emir discussed the situation in the region and the urgent need to end the current military escalation and a return to dialogue in the interest of regional stability. Over the weekend, he also spoke with the Foreign Minister of the Sultanate of Oman, His Excellency Badr bin Hamad Al Busaidi. The Secretary General praised Oman for its efforts on mediating a peaceful negotiations and reiterated his condemnation of the attacks against Iran and the Iranian attacks on Gulf countries. The Secretary General and the Foreign Minister both expressed concern about the risk posed by this war for the region. The Secretary General also over the weekend had a number of conversations with ambassadors from the Gulf Cooperation Council, and we'll keep you up to date as to further contacts he may have. As far as the situation on the ground, the position expressed by the Secretary General on Saturday in the Security Council remains very much valid. What is needed now in the region more than anything is a way out. To that end, the Secretary General again calls for de-escalation, an immediate cessation of hostilities, and genuine dialogue and negotiations in line with the Charter of the United Nations. The risk of a humanitarian fallout in the region is also growing fast. Our OCHA colleagues are in touch with our various UN country teams in the region and are ready to respond swiftly as needed. The Secretary General is particularly concerned about the growing numbers of civilians we are seeing being killed and the destruction of civilian infrastructure. International humanitarian law is clear. Civilians must be protected at all times, and civilian infrastructure must be protected as well. The expansion of attacks to countries that were not involved in the initial attack is, according to the Secretary General, particularly worrying, whether we're talking about Gulf countries, Jordan, Syria, or Lebanon. In Lebanon, where we have both a political and peacekeeping presence, tensions are also rising. We're seriously concerned about the exchange of fire across the blue line. The situation on the ground is evolving rapidly, and we're monitoring developments closely. We're also aware that of the strikes aimed at Israel claimed by Hezbollah and the Israeli strikes that have reportedly resulted in 31 fatalities and many more injured north of the blue line in Lebanon. We urge utmost restraint and call on the parties to uphold the cessation of hostilities agreement. Both the special coordinator for Lebanon, Janine Hennis-Plasschaert, and the UNIFIL head of mission and force commander, Major General Abanyara, are engaging with the parties to de-escalate and preserve stability across the blue line. Our UNIFIL peacekeepers there are remaining in position despite the challenging circumstances. We're also worried about the negative impacts that the military activities in the region as a whole could have on the world economy, and those impacts would, as they often do, hit the most vulnerable the hardest. A couple of related items from our friends at UN agencies. The UN Refugee Agency said it is deeply concerned about the escalation of the conflict and its impact on civilians and further displacement in the region. Many affected countries already host millions of refugees and internally displaced people. Further violence risks overwhelming humanitarian capacity and placing additional pressure on host communities. UNICEF said it is deeply concerned by reports of strikes in Iran and across the region, illustrating the grave danger for children. There are also reports of schools being struck in Iran, including a girls' school in Minab in southern Iran. Scores of students have reportedly been killed and others injured. UNICEF echoes the call of the Secretary General for the immediate cessation of hostilities and de-escalation. And our colleague Volker Turk, the High Commissioner for Human Rights, in a statement issued out of Geneva, reminded all parties that international law with respect to armed conflict is very clear. The protection of civilians is paramount. Each and every actor involved must ensure compliance with these laws. Violations of them must lead to accountability for those responsible. And Rafael Grossi, the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, spoke at his agency's Board of Governors meeting today and said that according to the Regional Safety Monitoring Network, no elevation of radiation levels above the usual background levels have been detected in countries bordering Iran. Regarding the status of the nuclear installations in Iran, up to now, he said he has no indication that any nuclear installations, including the Bushehr nuclear power plant and the Tehran research reactor, or any nuclear fuel cycle facilities have been damaged or hit. Mr. Grossi reiterated his call on the parties to exercise maximum restraint and avoid further escalation. He said the lasting solution to this long existing situation in Gaza, and our colleagues at OCHA said the regional escalation that began over the weekend is already affecting people and disrupting humanitarian services. As you know, Israeli authorities have closed